We are back here on the Lynn Hayes Freeland Show. You know, one of the things I love to do on the show is talk about theatrical productions in the city of Pittsburgh. We're blessed that we have so many options, among them the City Theater Company. And wait till you hear about the new play they've got going on. Here to talk about it, three individuals, three perspectives. Reginald Douglas is back.
Hello.
Welcome back.
It's good to be back.
You're doing such big things since you've been at City Theater.
Thank
We're happy to have you here.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's my new home.
There you go. And this time he's brought with him Nnamdi E. Kelly, who is, I'm going to let you talk about who you are, and Pipeline. And I wasn't going to say this, but since he brought it up, the Prince is back in town. Carter Redwood, welcome to you all.
Thank you for having us.
All right, so the show is Pipeline. The play is Pipeline. What is Pipeline all about?
It's the 2018 Obie Award winner for Best Playwriting, written by the MacArthur Genius Grant Award winner, Dominique Morisseau. It's a play about family with the background of the school-to-prison pipeline. So we are following Nnamdi's character, Naya, who's the mother of Carter's character, Omari, as Omari is threatened with expulsion and potential jail time for acting out against a teacher who he believes was racially profiling him. So in this circumstance of the racial politics that happens in education and in our world, we also just see a family learning how to grow up together, to love each other through those problems. And I think what Dominique's written is wonderfully honest, but also very hopeful. And I think that's the work we're trying to do at City. Absolutely.
Now, Nnamdi, talk to me about your role, because we all know as mothers, you know, that we can turn into that protective mama bear in just an instant. At the same time, we know that our kids are in very volatile situations.
Naya is my character's name, Naya Joseph. Naya is fighting for her son's life. And that's the most succinct way of putting it. All of the forces that are against him, both spiritually, physically, emotionally, it's really about fighting to save all of those facets of him.
Wow. And so then, Carter, do you feel as your character, you're kind of caught in this crazy whirlwind of a political society, including
of course.
educational?
I think the thing with Omari is that he's extremely aware of what's going on. He's really smart, but he has this underlying rage as well as a fear that he's sort of dealing with and grappling with about sort of the realization that this system may not be for him, you know, and it may not be designed for him to succeed. So I think with him, he's extremely aware of what he's in and what's happening, and I think that's where some of that rage comes from.
And to piggyback on something that Reggie said earlier, the rage, most men of color that I know can relate to that feeling of rage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Dominique was inspired by Richard Wright's Native Son and Gwendolyn Brooks' We Real Cool, and both pieces of literature really factor heavily into the plot of the play and the themes of the play. And it's just the next journey. August Wilson's work, Lynn Nottage's work, Nnamdi's work as a playwright, we see writers trying to better understand how the humanity gets lost in the way we talk about black male life. And I think what Dominique's written in Pipeline is a character who is fighting against a system that tries to erase him. And he says, I'm here in all of my complexities, both my fears and my dreams, my rage, but also my love. And I think what's been exciting for us as a team is to embrace the joy and the love that sustains black families. Because while we all know there's pressure coming upon us, especially in this political climate, there's also love and strength that has sustained us for generations. And I think that's what makes the play funny and musical, poetic, and wonderfully entertaining, even while it makes you really think provocatively about the world we live in.
Nnamdi, what do you like best about your character? What characteristic do you like best about her?
What I love most about playing Naya is she's a fighter, and she fights for the men in her life, which I hope I do personally, and I love that I get to be that every night.
And what do you like best about Omari?
I love how smart he is. He's constantly questioning everything and questioning things, and he's able to have an educated point of view and perspective on everything that's happening. So there's a scene that we have that is more like two lawyers fighting, you know what I mean? It's not mother and son, but someone who has agency and a point of view that he's fighting for and passionate about and willing to put out there on the forefront.
Awesome. Now, talk to me about the play opened last Saturday.
Yeah, so we started performances on Saturday the 27th, and so it was really timely, given what's happening in our city, to be able to come together and use art to help heal, to help build bridges. It was a really special way to start the show, to build community that way. We open officially on Friday, November 2nd, and we run until November 18th. So people got to come on down and get their tickets before it's too late.
Absolutely. And one of the things, I mean, we've talked about the depth of this play. And so as a result, you guys are having a couple of performances that include conversations
All of them,
after the,
yeah.
oh, all of them. Okay.
Yeah, it was really vital, I think, to our production, for me as a director and then as the artistic producer at City, that we really let this work spark conversation and dialogue amongst all different kinds of people. And there's no greater dream for us as a theater than to see different ages and neighborhoods and races coming together to experience art and then talk about it. And so we've enlisted 20 amazing African-American women leaders like you to lead our audience in conversation, to encourage them to share their perspectives, to share their thoughts on the piece, on the world we're living in. And we really do think that dialogue is vital to moving our city forward and to connecting people through art. So
Through art.
very excited about it.
Tickets are available right now.
Right
Folks
now,
need to do what to get them?
citytheatercompany.org.
Okay.
Or you can call our box office, 412-431-CITY.
Okay.
I know these numbers by heart.
There you go. But I mean, this folks don't want to mess around with this.
We don't want to mess around.
yeah.
I'm also really excited to tell the audience that there's a pay what you want matinee. We want to make sure everyone can experience this play.
Okay.
So Saturday, November 11th at 1 o'clock, come on out. It's pay what you want. Anyone can come.
Wow.
No barriers.
Wow. Okay, so let me ask you, what is the after show conversation? Like, I feel like anytime I go see a play, we go out and have coffee or a drink, whatever, and talk about the play. What's the after show conversation?
What has been shared with me is a lot of the young women that come see the show. Like last night, we had a group of women come, and they all were like, "Oh my God, you remind me of my mom. My mom would say that to me." They would just hug me. It is really beautiful.
So for women, it's the connection with their mothers. What's the after show conversation for you?
I think how much Omari sort of represents all young black men, myself, and he's you know, almost an archetype, unfortunately, in terms of what he's dealing with. And I think that this show, the reason why the discussions after the production are so important is because this show, you know, starts a conversation that needs to happen and is very necessary right now. So.
Awesome. You get 20 seconds. What's the after show conversation?
Oh my gosh, how do we move forward? What does hope look like? And how do we learn to celebrate the love and not always the hate?
Awesome. Awesome. Now, the production runs until, give us that date
Until
again.
November 18th.
Is it every day?
So we're going Tuesday through Sunday.
Okay.
9 shows a week, including student matinees.
What, y'all need a day off? What?
No, they'll make it.
Yeah, Tuesday, yeah.
They've got time to explore the city.
Exactly. And the website again for ticket information?
citytheatercompany.org.
Perfect. Thanks so much for joining. I'm so
Thanks for
excited. I
having
can't
us.
wait
Thank you,
to
Lynn.
see it.
Thank you.
We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll wrap all this up in just a minute when the Lynn Heath Freeland Show continues. Don't go away.